Welcome, fellow Phoenixes, to the Spiritual Phoenix Podcast, where we make a daily offering to the divine by putting our past on the pyre, turning the ashes into art, adapting addiction into connection, and metamorphosizing mental illness into mental wellness. I'm your host, Ross Cessna, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about self-discovery. But before we get into that, I'd like to take a moment and just think about what we're grateful for. Today, I'm grateful for just technology in general and the ability to be able to reach out and to connect with people and share my experiences and potentially help some people, hopefully. As far as self-discovery goes, that was a really long and arduous journey that's still ongoing for me. Some of the things that really were catalysts for that self-discovery, although I no longer use drugs such as marijuana and psychedelics really opened me up in lots of ways and kind of got me out of the mold that I was living in, I guess I'd say. So after doing having those experiences and whatnot, I eventually really changed my perspective on reality, sometimes for the worse, sometimes for the better. Eventually, those experiences led me to having some mental health issues, such as drug-induced psychosis, which it sounds like a frightening thing, and it was frightening, granted. But the thing that really was a catalyst for all of that, or that turned it into something positive, was my perspective later on and reevaluating those experiences and looking at what they meant to me. For me, those experiences now were kind of like a sign that I was on the wrong path, that I needed to wake up, to get my shit together, and just redirect my energy and attention. As opposed to using escapism, I needed to escape myself, essentially. And escaping myself meant facing my fears, which was I was afraid of people. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of being made fun of. I was afraid of all of these things, but fear does not exist. And I'll continually say that fear doesn't exist. Danger does. Fear is false expectations appearing real. And until people can get over that, they're going to be really held down by their own beliefs of something that's non-existent. So once I had to evaluate all those fears and look at myself and look at how I was living my life, I had to make a lot of fundamental changes. I've been a liar, a cheat, and a thief earlier on in life, and granted, I still lie occasionally. It's not even intentional, but the worst lies that I've ever committed were the lies to myself, which then reflected out on everybody else that was around me. I mean, I created a lot of damage with my actions. I can take responsibility for that now. And when I was going through a lot of those situations, I victimized myself and said, this would be different if these people did this, that, or the other thing. But the reality for me on my journey to self-discovery was I had to look at the one reoccurring theme in all the instances that created turmoil and animosity in my life. And that would be myself. I was the one thing that was consistently in every situation that created problems for me. And that's actually very empowering once you get over the fear of that, because when you when you come to the conclusion that you are the source of your problems, that liberates you to be able to change it. Because if it's on other people, you can't change other people. You're going to waste a lot of energy and make yourself crazy doing so. I've gone crazy trying to do so. So when I realized that I was the source of my problems, I then looked at, what do I have to do to overcome these issues? What can I do to better myself? What can I do to grow? And growing for me meant sharing my experiences, owning my mistakes, and moving past it and working towards what I perceive as my life goal, which is making people that have had similar experiences realize they don't have to live in that same scenario. They don't have to keep reliving that tape. They can tell new stories, as Brandon Beecham from the Positive Head podcast has said. And when you start telling new stories, it's amazing what will happen to you. I've been clean now from drugs and alcohol, or I should just say drugs because alcohol is a drug, since September 2nd of this year. And my life has fundamentally changed for the better. Granted, I've had to still reevaluate a lot of my behaviors in sobriety and deal with a lot of things that I used to escape by using drugs and running away. And there was a lot of difficult times in that, but the beauty of it is in the resolution, because when you can resolve those issues that had normally held you down, that you normally ran and escaped from, there's freedom in that. And there's so much liberation in solving your problems sober and working through them to the point of resolution and moving past them so you're not doomed to repeat them. I make new mistakes now, and I've heard that when you're making new mistakes, it shows that you're growing. And I'm always going to make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm not always going to say or do the right thing. I'm not a saint, and I never will be. I'm me, and I'm human, and I make mistakes like everybody else. I'd like to share a quote and read part of an article that I had written on this topic, and that would be, "And you, when will you begin that long journey into yourself?" And that was said by Rumi. And in regards to the article that I wrote, this is the first paragraph of it. "Oftentimes we fall into the illusion of seeing our inner world in the light of eternal sunshine or in the darkness of an infinite abyss found on a moonless, starless night. In reality, it is neither. With honest self-exploration and self-discovery, we can achieve a sustainable summer solstice of self. The journey of self-discovery is an endless one that is not for the faint of heart. The tragedies may be many at first, the emotional injuries plenty, but the reward is priceless." And that's been true in my experience. With that, I'd like to end this episode and just say that I'm on Periscope. This is my first time Periscoping, and it was a cool experience. I saw a couple people pop in and out, and it is what it is. People will come if they find value in it, and if not, I enjoy doing it just for my own sake, so that's cool too. I'm on iTunes, so if you could please drop a review for the Spiritual Phoenix podcast on iTunes, I would appreciate that. Let me know what I'm doing better, or let me know what I could do better. Let me know what you like that I'm doing. I'll put links to my social media in iTunes, or you can also find me on SoundCloud, the Spiritual Phoenix podcast on SoundCloud, and I'll have links to my social media. There's also an opportunity for you to get paid to respond to the topics that I'm talking about, if you so desire. It's not much money, but it's money for basically sharing your opinion, which I think there's value in that. And with that, I'd like to say love and light, namaste, have a good day. Peace.